Let's go ahead and bring in our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. So, Khalif, this is a really big deal. Is this a surprise to you happening today?
No, not at all. I mentioned this when we first started. When they first announced these indictment, this sprawling indictment, it was 18, 19 plus co-defendants. And so when you have that amount of individuals in a case, you can expect and anticipate that a ton of folks will roll over and turn state's evidence. And so at some point, that's what occurred here. You're talking about Sidney Powell, who's a former attorney who represented Michael Flynn, someone that never anticipated getting to this point, but she went on the circus wheel of attempting to say that this election was stolen, and she made it like her mission to do that when she knew and she had information provided her that it wasn't. What she's pleading to today down there in Georgia, it was really for a smaller county, Coffee County, where she was interfering or attempting to interfere with the election person's duty and trying to break into the election machine, trying to get information. And so that portion was the smaller part of the case. And originally on, you can see that other attorneys were trying to distance themselves from her. Chesebro's attorney was like, listen, we want to have our own trial, but we don't want to have our own trial with her. Put it on any other day in better words, but don't give me the same trial date as her, because her charges, her statements were very inflammatory in terms of the boldness of saying that the election was stolen. And if you're attempting to say that the election was stolen, even though you have information, that goes to the bottom core of what the state is trying to say the former president did.
And as you mentioned there, Powell, just a couple weeks ago, back in September, was trying to get her case separated along with Chesebro there. So the judge allowed it. So why do you think this plea deal happened?
Well, I mean, this is typical. I mean, her trial was supposed to start like November 4th, around next 2 weeks. And so as you get closer to a trial date, and you start to see the facts that the state has against you, and your attorneys start to tell you, well, this is what they actually have, and this is what you can defend, or this is what you can't defend. You start to do the checks and balances, and it's easier sometimes when you have an attorney client, because now they can understand between the lines what you're attempting to say, like, you have no chance. And that's what happened here. But I need folks to recognize what she's pleading to. While she's the second person to plea, and she is someone that is now going to be convicted of this. I had the pleasure of doing my internship or externship in Fulton County. I worked down there for 6 months, and so I did these types of plea deals with defendants. They have something called a first defender program down there, which means if a person hasn't had any criminal charges in the past, a charge right like this, yeah, she'll plead her time, she'll have other stipulations, and then it will disappear as if it didn't happen. And so that's the portion that I believe a lot of folks are missing, is that, yeah, she's pleading guilty today, but she'll comply with whatever requirements are, and she'll serve her 6 months' time of probation, and at the very end of that time, it will act like it didn't happen.
Interesting. And I mean, so as we get closer to that trial that she was supposed to have, that sort of makes sense. But what do you think this means quickly here for Donald Trump's trial coming up and the other defendants here? Because there's still a big handful of them.
As we get closer, you'll see more people jumping off the ship as the state tries to strengthen its case. And as they strengthen their case, she is someone that was in the room in D.C. as the votes were being counted. She's instrumental in knowing the mindset of the president at the time for him to say he did not know that he lost the election. She can give insight to exactly what he knew at the time and tell us exactly what was happening. So she will be crucial to the state's case going forward, not just to the former president, but as other folks are sitting at home, they're saying, oh, maybe it's my time. I should probably call my attorney today and figure it out. And if I'm representing the former president, I'm saying, what else did you tell her? Because whatever you told her, the state now knows.